So I read an article, and it looks like a lot of Americans are burning out. Basically, they're doing less productive things at work. They're basically silently quitting. We're in a situation where I think a lot of people are just they're burned out. They're tired, right? Myself included. Is there going to be a food shortage? Is there going to be some war? Is there going to be a recession, a depression? Is there going to be a housing market crash? All of these things just are very uncertain. And when I think back and look for myself, and I think others as well, what happens when you get a burnout? How does this even occur? In order to burn out, you have to be out of energy, out of gas, out of kapusta, right? So what happens is you have to have a drain. That means you're drained. When we look at permaculture and resilient living, these are systems designed to be a closed loop circuit, right? A closed loop system. Basically, you can learn lessons from nature when you grow a tree, right? Plant a tree, it drops leaves. It drops leaves actually perfectly right over the root zone. And then when the moisture comes, it actually hits the leaves of the tree, trickles down, and instead of washing the base of the tree, the water will actually, the little droplets of dew or rain will fall towards the outer part of the tree, mostly. And it'll go through the leaves, the mulch, and it will give the tree what it needs. It needs its juice, its water. It's creating its own soil by its root systems, by attracting microbiology, worms and such that are going inside of the compost, the covering, the leaf that they have, the mulch, and it's protecting it from drying out from the sun, and it gives it that habitat for insects and other animals and things to do. And it's a symbiotic relationship. And us as human beings and the systems that we have designed it's not symbiotic, right? Look at that system, how it just becomes into fruition. There's so much more that's the stacking of functions. There are animals that live in the trees, such as birds making nests, right? Lizards and other creatures, depending on what part of the world you're in. It's like a multi-tool. And I think for us to be burned out is that we don't have this significance. We don't have this, I think I'd like to add that too. We don't have this feeling of accomplishment. We're not full. So as the saying says, let your medicine be your food should be your medicine. Well, the actions and things that we do should be fulfilling us, making us happy, making us want to wake up in the morning and be productive and do things, right? But in our systems, we don't have that. It's a system of monetary fuel that comes in. We're all working for something, and for money, we buy food. The money comes in our hand, it leaves our hand, and it's perpetual. It just keeps going. Well, what would we replace that with? What is the antidote to this burnout? Well, it is to be happy, of course, to be doing things that you like to do. In the words of Sadhguru, a genius does things that are necessary happily and joyfully, right? There's a lot of things that we don't want to do, like laundry and, maybe get up early in the morning, go check on the animals or the garden, pull weeds and stuff like that because it's cold or it's hot. But these are things that need to be done. They're necessary. And if we can flip our mindset around to do these things happily and joyfully, saying that, if I just quit, my garden's going to go to crap. It's going to die. I've got to tender it. Same thing with my health. Do I feel like running today or getting some exercise? No, I'd rather eat cheese puffs and sit down and watch TV, right? So I like in the words of Robert Kiyosaki as well, is he said, I don't go and invest into stocks. I create my own stocks. So meaning that in a monetary system, he's able to purchase, say, buildings and do real estate investing and things like that, gold mines and, making these sorts of investments that actually pay, where he's creating his own income streams, not reliant upon the system. Whereas most people, he's basically going into business for himself. And that's what I look at a self-reliant, a resilient living lifestyle, is creating things for yourself, just like Robert Kiyosaki is saying with the money, with creating his own stocks. I think a lot of people don't register, especially these investors, people who are all about money, and I've got nothing against money. But one of the things that I think they miss out on is that doing things like growing your own food is like printing your own money. It's a ghost income, right? It's something that you look at and say, well, there's no money involved. But what would it take you to go and buy those products, right? That food, or creating your own energy. So the self-fulfillment as well of living a resilient life, I think a lot of people miss, is that it gives you that meaning, and it gives you that gasoline in life, and it's perpetual. Once you plant perennials, right? Meaning plants and trees and things that once you plant them once, that's all you never have to plant them again. They just keep coming back perpetually. These are things that feed you the good nutritional value, right? And it has something, it came from your own hands. It gives you meaning. It gives you a feeling of accomplishment. And the longer these things go on, living in permaculture, natural farming, natural life, the longer these things go on, the better they get and the more they produce. And it could become to a point where you're producing so much you can't even eat it all, right? You have to start sharing with other people. And then we have the warming, heartfelt thing of exchanging seeds or giving food to somebody. I think maybe a lot of people, especially in this day and age, in this modern world, have not experienced growing things like everything on the table came from your own hand. And that feeling is insane. It's insanely good. So what is the strategy? What do we do with these situations of burnout? As I said, I think a lot of people are missing out that. I think that what we need to do is we all need to start becoming more producers of our own lives, whether times are bad, times are good. We need that fulfillment. Interesting story too. My dentist told me they use a grounding blanket. I don't know if I've talked about this before on the show, and I said, a grounding blanket, what does that exactly mean? And she says, it just has this electricity, whatever, and you wrap it around yourself and it kind of goes through and does energy work and just makes you feel good. It grounds you basically. Because I said, well, why don't you guys just go out and go outside and garden, do stuff? Well, because we're always working. And she pointed up to the lights. We're always under prosthetic lights, I like to call things like that. Fake lights, right? 8 hours a day, and we're inside like when I look at people's lives, I think they would wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee in their home. That's temperately adjusted, right, to 72 degrees. You get out of your front door, get into your car, which is also a little bubble, right, a little microcosm. You're never really touching the ground. You're never really in the true light. You get out of your car, you go into a building, you work all day. Maybe you take a lunch and you go into another building to spend money, maybe possibly that you don't have. And then you go back home, you're tired, you sit in traffic, right? And you go back in your house and that's your day. Whereas someone like me who owns his own business doing such things as construction and farming and stuff like that, I'm always outdoors. So I don't need a weird, strange plug-in grounding blanket. It's just the fact that people have to use these electronics to make themselves feel good. Just blew my mind. And we're missing this in life, I think. We're all unhappy and we're all experiencing burnout because we haven't created our own stocks, right? Just think about it. If we were able to start spin farming, right, on other people's properties, we've talked about this a lot in the show. If food wasn't a problem, if energy wasn't a problem, all you had to do was worry about shelter. If you captured your own rainwater, you had all these little things that you started to build in your life where you built your own stocks. Now we're self-reliant. We're living a resilient life. I think that's where the whole premise for this show comes from, is to be able to be more of a producer of your life. And I look at as far as like money, right? I'm not against money. But what would happen to a person's life, the freedom that they could experience if they did a marriage of natural living with the monetary system, with modern living with natural, right? Nature versus technology. What if you were able to live such a simple life where you produce so much, as I said, for yourself, where you're not reliant on the grocery stores or the crappy food that they're actually selling you as well, that you're eating very healthy stuff. You're investing in the health for the future of you, your children, and those around you by and saving the planet at the same time. You start to create this invisible wealth where you don't need so much money. Now one would be able to say, sleep in, go travel. In fact, there might be someone talking to you right now, very close to you guys right now, a little baldy guy who actually has been living this way for 6-7 years, where people ask, how is it that you're able to go travel all the time, right? What gives you the freedom to be able to do the things that you do? Because I live way below my means. I don't have to make a lot of money if I so chose to, because I produce for myself. And that's what I want for everybody else. I want everybody to get out of this burnout and to realize that it's not going to change unless you change it. And to understand, to look at it. Where did all this derive from? What is going on? Why are we all experiencing burnout? Why are we all tired and drained? It's never going to stop. It's perpetual. And I think the powers that be want it. They like it. They need it. They want you to keep being the aphid, working, educating yourself on the wrong things, right? Instead of understanding how money works, how investing works, how growing your own food works, having that freedom. They want to take it away from you and keep you as a worker bee until you get drained and unhealthy and happy. And the vicious circle continues. And maybe you need to come home and put that grounding blanket on to make yourself feel better, right? For a moment with another product, electrical device that we're selling you, right? For you to feel good. Instead of noticing that everything around you, I'm looking out at the sky right now and the trees and everything, that everything around you will ground you. It's grounding you constantly if you get out and take a look at it. If you're able to get out of the system, this world, this microcosm, this aquarium of life, get out of it and look out to the freedom of life. Look at the stars and look at the trees. Sit down in the grass, walk barefoot, right? Start to grow your own food. Start to notice, start foraging. Anywhere in the world you are, there's wild plants that are medicinal and have great nutritional value. And the fact that you have the empowerment to understand and know that you can feed yourself. You know how to start a fire. You're producing basically your own stocks. In some cases, what I'm saying with nature is such a giver, you don't even have to create the stocks. The stocks are right there for you to pick. So we do have freedom, guys. We don't need to be burned out. We just need to shift our gears, I think, shift our mindsets, and start to create that resilient living life. That's all I got today. I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.